With a tradition dating back to the 12th century, Welsh slate mining boomed at the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, as this once isolated region was connected by roadways and railways to the rest of Europe. In the mid-1850s, with the strike of the slate workers and a depressed market for slate in Europe, hundreds of Welsh miners and their families made the difficult journey for the promise of freedom and economic prosperity in America. Independent slate quarries had existed for decades in the U.S., but it wasn't until the enterprising Welsh immigrant Robert M. Jones founded the Bangor Quarry that business flourished.
They came by the thousands. They were well known for slating. They were an asset to this area because of their know-how. This was the beginning of our town.
Named for the resemblance to the Welsh towns of Bangor and Argyll, the quarries soon spread to surrounding towns, making up the majority of the region now known as the Slate Belt. By the time of the Civil War, the Slate Belt was producing over half of all the slate used in the United States. The typical day of a quarry worker was not easy. Their work consisted of hard, dangerous labor. In a quarry, sometimes hundreds of feet deep. In the early days, slate was dug out by hand. Jones introduced the use of dynamite to blast out large portions at a time, selecting 10-year-old boys for the task.
Children did work in the quarries, and they might start around age 10, going with a parent or an older brother. And, they had various jobs. We know at least one of them, Floyd Racely, laid dynamite at that age, which was a pretty risky kind of an occupation. But small fingers could get into little crevices.
My dad was 12 years old when he was sent to the quarry. My grandfather and grandparents had a family to feed, and they needed all the hands they could get. So he was 12 years old, taken out of school, and he used to tell me, I was only small, I was only 5'7" when he died. He said, I used to walk with my blicky dragging in the snow. That's how short I was.
It is a lunch pail, but it's a special lunch pail, and it's called a blicky. And this is the kind of lunch pail that the slaters took to the quarries every day that they went to work. And if you take a look at how this comes apart, inside, that is the thermos, what we would call a thermos. And that's where the hot tea or coffee would go, and inside this lunchbox would be often a special meat pie. And that was very special to the guys who worked in the quarries because it was easy to eat. And the folks in this area made very, very good meat pies. So they loved having pasties in their lunch.
Through the Heritage Mural Education Program at Totts Arts Institute, founder and director Jim Gloria instructs students firsthand in the incredible history of the slate industry, its culture, and heritage. By being involved in every aspect of creating a large-scale mural, students are bringing to life the stories of the quarry and the people who worked there. In fact, student painter C.J. Kaiser's father, uncle, great-uncle, and great-aunt actually worked in the quarry and are depicted in the mural.
So, like when you got in, were you really young? And was it expected of you? Like, did you have all these stories, or was it just complete? Like, how did you end up there? What was it?
I needed work. I knew family that worked there, and I was warned, don't go there, because you'll never get out.
Okay.
And that was one of the folklore. Once you get cut by slate, it gets in your blood. And to this day, I believe to be true, because I have work ethic from working in the quarry that you just can't get.
I was 32 when I started working at the quarry. I was asked by the supervisor that worked up there if I was interested in a job, and I took it. I ran the overhead crane for 17 years.
I'd cut blocks, and another gentleman would split it up, and we were making literally slate tiles, all different sizes. And I got bored and heard that they were hiring over at Dally's, and went over there because I could do something different. I worked the landing over there for years.
There are currently only 3 slate quarries operating in Pennsylvania. Dally's Quarry is one of the largest remaining.
So, do you feel like you're from another time doing this work? I mean, it's the last quarry in the area?
Yeah, you got to be pretty nuts to work down there.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people come and it's just they'll come and they'll leave like an hour later. It's
What's the worst of the job? What do you think keeps them away?
The ride down.
to ride down, or if they would happen to come in the winter, where you're digging a hole in the ground, you have water all around, so there's always water coming in, and in the winter it freezes and gets on the walls, and that's a tendency of fall.
About how deep are you going in?
We're about 450 feet.
254.
Down?
Yeah, we're down pretty good.
And so do you have plenty to do out there? Is there call for slate still, or is it sort of going away? Or
It's a dying breed. Really, I mean, people still do it, but not like back in the day.
I was a foreman for Dally's for probably about 30 years. I worked there for a total of 49 years. I worked in the yard, punching slate, loading slate, things of that sort.
Well, when I started, I was 16 years old, and I started in the yard, punching slate, loading slate, done regular yard work like Larry did, only a different quarry. Then from there, I went down the hole. Then most of my life in the quarry was running engine. I run about 32 years. And it was all for heavy work, picking up like 6-7 ton stones. And I ran steam and electric. I was the last one to run a steam engine. When they shut down, that was it.
Well, my father worked in the slate industry most of my young life, probably until I was 25 years old. He was a blacksmith because the slate industry was so old that they didn't make tools for the different aspects of it. So he was required to make the tools to operate it.
This steam hoisting engine was manufactured by the Corey Manufacturing Company, which was started by my great-great-grandfather, Solomon Corey, and he then turned it over to his son, Samuel Corey. He also had a milling business, a company right here in Bangor, and was used in the local quarries. It's part of the Bangor's history and the Slate Belt history. That industry wouldn't have progressed without machines like this.
Having the hoist project and the mural project almost side by side is really great for the community, because the hoist is only one element, a very important element, just one of a broader portrait. So having the mural just down the street where they can go from the hoist to the derrick and the cableway and the actual hole with the men working in there really gives you a much broader sense of how everything fits together.
Why is heritage important? It gives you grounding. It's your roots. It makes you appreciative of the built environment that you have around you. You realize why certain things look the way they do.
It seems today that many people are forgetting that they are links in an important chain of people within their family. And also in terms of pride of place, connecting to why your community exists and what makes it special. All of those things enrich one's life.
So what happened to this once bustling industry in Pennsylvania? The inefficiency of mining slate was always a factor. Even after the invention of modern mining tools, 65% of mined slate was waste, providing an opening for cheaper asphalt shingles as an inexpensive alternative roofing material. Social and political factors also played a part. World War I and World War II, the Great Depression. Each of these events contributed to the lack of demand from which the industry never fully recovered. The Slate Belt's legacy is still visible through the enduring slate products and art in existence throughout Pennsylvania. as well as in the names and faces of the original slate workers' descendants.